Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to this happy gathering in this new 2022, and especially for our very, very honored and special guest here. And I just hope everyone enjoy it and hear what our guest will bring to us. Back to you, Jackie.
Thank you so much. Our district director, Lillian West, is with us, but she is at work and she will be dropping in the chat, but she is in the room and I want to recognize her. So put a note in the chat to welcome our Lillian and say hello, but she is in the building. I won't belabor the time, ladies and gentlemen. I know you are not here to hear me, but I would like to introduce our international president-elect. For those of you who don't know, Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster Matt Kinsey, you are in for a treat. He has been a Toastmaster since 2003, and he has served in several or many roles, leadership in Toastmasters International. I am truly happy to welcome you, Matt, as our international president-elect to District 43. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Matt Kinsey.
Good evening, everyone. Before I get into the heart of my presentation, I want to say hello to a couple people I haven't seen in a while. Karen Batesole, great to see you. Karen used to be in District 47, and I served with her on a district executive committee. She's a fabulous individual. I'm very excited to see her. Tony, past district director, Tony Gilchrist Brittenham. I'm glad to see Tony, and I'm especially glad to see Mary McClendon. And yes, Mary, I'm still white. Okay, I can't let that go without sharing that story. Mary said no, but I got to. We were sitting in Washington, D.C. in a bar, and nobody was doing anything excessive. We were just having a great conversation. I was speaking with Mary and Ivory Gwynn from District 30. And I was telling a story about myself in Chicago, and I said I was probably the only white person within 5 miles that wasn't on the Dan Ryan Expressway where I was. And Mary looked at Ivory, goes, "He's white?" And I just always remember that story. So it was good to see you. I want to welcome the members of the district that is currently #1 in the Western Hemisphere and top 10 in the world. Did you guys hear that? Where are you in the Western Hemisphere? Number what? #1. #1. You're 9th in the world right now in membership payments. The only district in the top 10 outside of the Eastern Hemisphere, which has been a lot of our growth. And I'm just encouraging you here that distinguished or better is within your grasp. In fact, if anyone in North America is going to make it, it's you. And why is that? I don't know. I don't know what you've been doing, but you are doing an absolutely brilliant job of bringing members in this area. You're ahead of your pace from last year. And what I really want to do tonight is I want to give you a sense that it's doable. In this year of pandemic, and that is continuing, not just a year, but 2 years of pandemic now, sometimes we lose sight of the fact that our goals and our aspirations are there for us. And leadership isn't easy. You know, you can lead from the front, you can lead from behind. My first leadership lesson came really early in life. Now, do we have any athletes in the room? Or wannabe athletes, or my absolute favorite people that used to be athletes? Okay, we used to be athletes at one point. I can see a lot in the odds there. You know, like most kids growing up, I wanted to be good at sports, and I was terrible. Have you ever met anyone who was struck out playing t-ball? Well, if you haven't before, you have now. And after one baseball game, I walked up to my dad and said, "Dad, can I run home?" And my dad looked at me, he's like, "You want to run home?" Now, we lived in a very small community, about 350 people. Everybody knew everybody. And I guess my dad figured somebody would pick me up on the side of the road when I collapsed running home. It was about 3 miles from the baseball field to my home. And for some reason, he goes, sure, run home, knock yourself out. Well, he got in his car, he drove home. I started running. I got home and my dad looked at his watch and he looked at me. And he looked at his watch again, and goes, who picked you up? I said, nobody, I ran home. Matt, I think we might have found your sport. So I started running. I really enjoyed it. And finally came the day I trained for my first official race. I was on the starting line, the pistol went off, and I felt like, how many of you remember the television show, The $6 Million Man? You know, no, 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 no. And that's when I realized that that's how fast I was running, because all of the boys were passing me. And then all of the girls. Out of 173 runners that day, I finished 173rd. I was humiliated, depressed. I walked to my dad and I said, Dad, that's it. Sports is not for me. I quit. You know, Frisco, he said the strangest thing to me. I mean, you might have thought he would have said, Matt, you can't quit. You made a commitment. How many of you ever heard that before? Or you might have thought he would have said, Matt, you can't quit. Quitters never win and winners never quit. Like we haven't heard that a million times before. He goes, no. He said, Matt, you can't quit. Your team needs you. What? Dad, I couldn't even see the short little girl who finished in front of me. Nobody cares that I was here today, and nobody will care when I don't show up tomorrow. Dad looked at me and goes, Matt, you're wrong. That little girl feels a whole lot better today because at least she beat you. Thanks, Dad. But more importantly, when you go back tomorrow, oh, and you will, no one else has an excuse to quit. Your team needs you. There have been a lot of excuses to quit these last 2 years. Pandemic, don't know how to do it. I hate this online club experience. Oh, I can't figure out how to do a hybrid meeting. When will we get back to the way things used to be? And I'm just here to tell you that the way forward to our future is not the way back to the way things were. From a Toastmasters perspective, we need to build online clubs, we need to build hybrid clubs, and we need to build in-person clubs as restrictions are lifted in various parts around the world, including in District 43. And we have to understand that even if the environment allows us to meet in person, there are individuals who aren't comfortable meeting in person because of their own health conditions, their own concerns for family members, or just out of a sense of it's not quite time yet. There are other people who are very comfortable meeting in person. And I'm not here to criticize any of those choices you make. That's the reality we live in throughout the world, that we have to be able to accommodate going forward various meeting styles if we're going to meet the mission of Toastmasters International, if the district's going to meet its mission, and if the clubs are going to meet their mission of providing a positive and supportive environment where all members can get the advantage of the learning available in the Toastmasters program. So I'm very encouraged with the pipeline that Jackie was sharing with me of new potential clubs. But I will tell you, she can't do it alone. And I don't want her to. And Lou can't do her job alone. And our Lillian can't do her job alone. It takes a team. And it takes people at the district level, it takes people at the club level. And if District 43 is going to achieve distinguished, it will not be because Jackie made it happen. It will not be because Lou made it happen or Lillian made it happen. It will be because the district made it happen. So are you up for that challenge? Now, am I going to be upset if you don't make it? No, I'm not. That's your choice. Can you go to bed on July 1st and say, I did everything reasonable to make the district distinguished, to make us meet our goals? And if you did, I'll feel very happy for you. Because I've seen presidents distinguish districts that didn't really do everything they could. And I've seen non-distinguished districts that did everything they could. And I believe completely in effort is what you learn from. The distinguished is not the goal. The goal is the district mission. Are you starting new clubs? Are you helping all clubs achieve excellence? Lou, are you putting on amazing training so people can know how to do their job as club officers and district officers? Jackie, are you helping division directors and area directors start clubs? Notice I didn't ask if she was starting clubs. I asked if she was helping division and area directors start clubs. Because she can't do it. She's a resource to you. You're not a resource to her. What do you want to achieve? I know what Jackie wants to achieve. She shared it with me. She's got great vision for this. Are you on board with her? I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding, and I know that if any district in North America is going to be distinguished this year, District 43 will be among those. Because you've got somebody who has the vision to do it and has the experience to help you make it happen. What is the role of the district leader? How many of you on this call today are district leaders, are area directors, division directors, another role in the district? You know, I see Don there. Don, can you unmute yourself? Don, can you tell me a little bit about your division?
My Division C is, we call ourselves the confidence division because we work, once we set our goal, put our plan in place, we work as a team to accomplish our mission. And our mission is to help all of our clubs become distinguished. And that's a hard task, but we're working to see that we get it done. We don't quit. We're a quiet team, but we do what we are supposed to do, and we work our mission and our success plan. Yes,
yeah. Sir. So I see one of your area directors on here, Ron. Ron, can you unmute yourself? So Ron, does Don walk what he just said? I got a feeling he does.
Yes, he does.
He does. And does that inspire you to do more for your clubs in your area?
Right. Above and beyond.
Yeah,
Yes.
Absolutely. That's what it takes for leaders, is inspiration. Leadership, more than anything else, is a relationship experiment. You know, before we go into questions in a few minutes, I'm just got a couple other things, and we will have plenty of time for questions. But I have seen so many people get confused about leadership. I've been confused about leadership. It's not surprising. I mean, if leadership were easy, there wouldn't be 45,000 books on Amazon about leadership that disagree with each other and present different ideas. One of the things that I think Toastmasters helps people understand, and perhaps the reason we've never selected a leadership style, is leadership is fluid. It's in motion. And what works in one situation doesn't work in another situation because of the people involved, because of the environment that's involved. We want to expose ourselves to a lot of different leadership skills, leadership practices, so that we can respond appropriately. And notice I said respond, not react. So I worked as a lifeguard. Anybody else work as a lifeguard? Yeah. So Karen, I saw Karen raise her hand. Karen, what's the most dangerous thing a lifeguard can do in a rescue?
Put themselves in danger.
and basically get in the water. The minute you get in the water, you're putting yourself in danger. The natural inclination of a lifeguard when they see somebody in trouble is to jump in the water and try to save them. And even for people who aren't lifeguards. And why is that? It's our reaction. We see someone in trouble, we want to help. And when we react and don't think through our safety, don't think through our process, that's why you see so many people who drown while saving somebody else or attempting to save somebody else. But as a lifeguard, we need to look and go, what are the tools I have available to me? Is there something I can reach with? Is there something I can throw to them and pull them in? Is there a boat I can get in? If I can't get a physical object, maybe I can get a line of people together and we grasp arms so we can reach out to somebody and have that support that we need. We have to respond to the situation and not react. And that means to think things through. So a great way to do that is to have practice. Work through the scenarios. I'm in IT, okay? And I'm sure knowing Toastmasters, there's probably at least 4 or 5 other IT people on this call. It's one of the largest work segments in Toastmasters are engineers, and especially IT folks. When we work through something, we want to work through a process, define the process, and make sure we understand the steps. So practice those scenarios, work through it. In IT, I work on security and operations. And so what am I doing? I'm trying to keep the bad guys out. I'm trying to keep the computers running. And so I've got plans. Okay, if they get in this way, here's what we do. If this happens, here's our contingency plan. And you're going to need those because not every club lead that you have is going to come to fruition. You're going to get a club that's got 18 members and it's June 10th and you got 18 members and you're going to be tempted to find 2 people who are willing to throw $45 at a new club and are never going to attend. Please don't do that. The temptation's there. I remember my year, we were coming up towards the end. We ended up 57 membership payments short of being distinguished the year I was district governor. And a couple of clubs. And I had people calling me and telling me exactly how to get those 57 member payments and those clubs and who to call and who would write a check and who would put their credit card on. But they weren't people who were committed to those clubs. And I said, no. And I sleep really well. So to the trio, I want you to sleep really well. Do things in a proper way. The last thing I want to share with you before we go into questions has to do with the most important part of leadership, which I talked about as relationships. So several years ago, I was at a convention in Scottsdale, Arizona. I mean, you've been to Scottsdale. Beautiful, beautiful place. Well, over lunch, the MC came up and goes, all right, ladies and gentlemen, over lunch, I want you to go out on the streets of Scottsdale, Arizona, find a stranger, convince him or her to go to lunch with you, and then come back and tell us about it. Now, some of you know me and know that I am somebody, you give me a task, I am a get her done kind of guy, and I'm going to get it done. So I am standing in front of a Starbucks in Scottsdale, Arizona, trying to get someone to go into the restaurant next to us. And it was not going well. I'd walk upstairs and say, hey, are you going to lunch with me? No, yeah, have a good day. Someone kind of moved a little faster than that even. I don't know if they thought I was trying to convert them to Christianity, get them to sell Amway. I don't know, but it wasn't working. And I sat down and I was a little frustrated because I was like, there's 800 people in that room and I'm going to be the only one who didn't get a stranger to go to lunch with them out in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I cannot have that. And I remembered something my mom used to tell me. She said, Matt, in whatever you do, find the purpose. What? Isn't that the opposite of what we're always told is, find your purpose and then go out and do? And no, she said, whatever you're doing, find the purpose. And I said, what am I trying to do here today? Am I trying to check something off? I said, you know what? I want to thank a veteran for his or her service. And I know there are many women who have served our military with distinction, including Karen Batesel here in the room tonight. But I pictured an older gentleman with a cane, very weathered face, gray hair, a ball cap. And the word Arizona flitted across my mind, but I'm in Scottsdale, no big deal. And I stood up, I walked around the corner, and Jackie, he was standing right in front of me. Almost exactly as I had pictured him. An older gentleman with a very weathered face. What hair he had left was white. He's wearing a ball cap that said USS Arizona. I walked up to him and said, "Sir, would you do the honor of going to lunch with me?" And he said, "Why?" "Well, this is a good start." He didn't run away. And I said, "Well, I made a decision a few minutes ago. I wanted to thank a veteran for his or her service, and I saw your ball cap. Would you please go in and restaurant and have lunch with me?" And he looked at me and goes, "Well, my mama told me never turn down a free lunch." So we went in the restaurant, ordered our food, started talking. The guy's name was Bill. And finally I said, "Bill, I noticed the Arizona cap. Did you know somebody on the Arizona?" He's like, "Know someone? Hell, boy, I was on the Arizona." He goes, "I will never forget that morning." It was around assembly time, and I was up on deck, and we heard the sirens go off, and I looked over and I saw the Zeros in formation coming towards us. And the next little bit was just, it was chaos. There were torpedoes in the water, there were fires, the smoke deck blew up behind me, and I ended up treading water in Pearl Harbor as I watched my ship sink to the bottom. Finally, a boat picked me up, and I heard that there were men trapped in the Utah, banging on the insides, trying to get out. And I lost 2,300 of my fellow soldiers that day. We sat in silence for a while, and the waiter kind of sheepishly put the bill down. And I reached over and picked it up, and all of a sudden it got snatched out of my hand. And I was like, "Sir, I told you I wanted to take you to lunch." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, I know what you said. So what?" I was like, "Well," I said the first thing that came to my mind, "My mama told me never turn down a free lunch." I almost missed that. I almost missed one of the most incredible conversations I've ever had in my life because I didn't understand the assignment. The assignment was not to go off and check a box and have a cool story to tell. The assignment was to go out and connect with another human being in a public space and to forget about everything else that was going on for just a few minutes. I confused a task with connecting with people. How many times have I done that in the past? How many times do I still do that? I try not to. I really try hard to make sure that I focus on people first in my leadership. Because no matter what your goals, no matter the size of your team, no matter whether you've been together for a few weeks, a few months, or years, the only meaningful way to accomplish your goals is with people and putting their considerations first. Now, you might think as a member of the executive committee that Toastmasters is the most important priority in my life. And if I told you it was, I would be completely lying to you. My faith, my family, my career, my health are all more important than Toastmasters. And if Toastmasters is much higher than that on your priority list, I encourage you to reconsider. Because what we learn in Toastmasters, what we help other people accomplish in Toastmasters is not about Toastmasters. It's about people taking those skills, that self-confidence, that change in their life and saying, if I could do this, imagine what else I can do. And that's why I see so many Toastmasters start their own businesses. I see so many Toastmasters who've been single for years who finally find a meaningful relationship that they spend the rest of life with because they got that genuine self-confidence. And if nothing else I said tonight resonates with you, what we do in Toastmasters matters. It matters a lot because we are giving people a gift of seeing themselves as others see them. I remember, I would encourage you to do this. Thanksgiving time is a great time to do this exercise. We had a Toastmasters meeting and we scheduled no speeches. It was all table topics. And when everyone came in the room, they drew out the name of somebody else who was in the club, who was present. And then all their assignment was when they were called on, they were to get up and do a table topics about why they were glad that individual was in the Toastmasters Club. I have never seen more tears in the Toastmasters Club from everyone. We had one woman who was probably in her mid-40s, and the gentleman got up and said, you know, when you walk in the room, everybody starts smiling. And as he said this, she started crying. And she said, I thought I just had a happy friend. She was in her mid-40s and no one had ever told her the impact that she had on people until a Toastmaster did. That's a shame, but I'm glad she was there that night because it made a difference to her for quite a while. And she began to own that aspect of her. I think what Toastmasters does more than anything else is it helps you find that uniqueness inside of you that brings a positive impact to the world around you. Because we respond to your stories, we respond to the message that you have, and we help you hone that and help you in just a small way discover who you are. And that to me is the most important thing we do. And I think Dr. Smedley would agree. So I want you to know that what you do matters. And at the end of June 30th, at about 1 a.m., when the calendar on this Toastmasters program year stops, as a club officer, did you do everything you could in your club this year to create a positive and supportive environment where all members can learn from the program? As a district officer, did you do everything you could to start new clubs and to help all the clubs in your care achieve excellence? And as a board member, as the president-elect, I'm going to ask, did I do all that I could? Hold myself to that same standard. And if you say yes, you did. I don't care what the scorecard says. You're a winner in my book. I want to thank you guys for your time. We do have questions. I know Toastmasters gets all uptight about thanking people for their time, but so what? I do appreciate your attention because your attention makes a difference to me. You don't need to thank me for my words. I don't think I've said anything that anyone else couldn't have said. Maybe I said it a little differently. Maybe it landed on you a little differently. I just encourage you to think about what I've had to say tonight. And if it encourages you to do one thing a little bit differently over the next couple of weeks, I'll be really pleased. I think we've seen a lot of questions and comments. I haven't been paying attention to them. And I know that we have a wonderful Zoom chat manager in Rhonda Maddox. So Rhonda, I'm going to return control to you for some questions.
Thank you so much, President-elect. We don't have questions, we have comments.
Okay.
I want to be the first to say you did an absolutely amazing job. It's not about Toastmasters, it is about connections. And that lifeguard story about using the tools, I will forever take with me. So thank you very much. We have from Toastmaster Jessica Flynn is thanking everyone for taking the time to come, or thanking you for taking the time to come and visit us and to speak. So we have, let's see here, as you talked about what the beauty of Toastmasters is that the trio makes the difference, and we have an excellent trio, was what a number of people said. Aha. Toastmaster Zane, you have your hand up. I'm sorry, my computer just went out and kicked me out of here. I wouldn't try and come out. Toastmaster Zane, do you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Rhonda. Hey, Matt. So one of my roles this year is to promote Pathways program in the district, right? So my question is, can you share with us what path are you on and what level, what project are you working with?
I just completed my 6th path, and I'm determining which path I will be doing next. So I just completed the 6th path yesterday, and this is actually being evaluated for a future path, but I'm not sure which one it's going to be yet. But I would encourage you to change your language a little bit, okay? We have an educational program that's called Pathways, but it's the only educational program we have. So if people are here tired about hearing Pathways, which I know some people are, I want to give you some hope. There are some changes coming. You already saw some changes this last fall. That was the first phase. We are looking at the platform, and one of the major goals of that is to make it available on mobile phones. But until that time, the numbers show that our educational program is a huge success. We are getting more people, more educational awards than at any time in our history on a per capita basis, which was part of the design. So please encourage people to engage in our educational program because it's the only one we have.
All right. Thank you, President-elect Kinsey. We have one question in the chat from Roger Pritchett. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your Toastmasters journey?
Yeah, I don't mind at all. I started at a corporate club. I know past district director Denise is on here, and I believe she's at a Walmart club. I was at a company not quite as large as Walmart, and there's not too many that large, but I was at Office Depot, which some of you may have heard of when I walked into my first Toastmasters club. And I didn't realize anything existed outside of that club until I went to training. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But then I was approached about being an area director. And after that is when I joined my first community club. And I really like that I've got tons of experience in both. That corporate club experience gives me a unique understanding of some of the differences. But at the end of the day, we're Toastmasters. And it doesn't matter whether you're a community club, corporate club, doesn't matter which country you're in. I mean, I've got a map on Facebook like crazy where I can go almost about 143 countries I can go into and call someone, go, hey, I'm a Toastmaster. Can you help me out? And I got friends that I've never met yet. And that is so true. And if you've been to an international convention, you will discover how true that is. And so I served as area and division director. And then I took a couple of years, not really off. I was doing other things, not in elected roles. I was working on, I did the district website 1 year. I did the Speakers Bureau 1 year. Then I ran for the district trio and was elected. But probably the most significant thing was something I wasn't successful at. I believe it was around the time Tony was district governor. I was running for international director in Malaysia, and I was not elected. It's the first election I'd ever been up for in my life that I didn't win. And it shook me. It shook me hard. But I needed that reflection. And I've told people, and Karen has probably seen some of this tonight, if I'd been elected in Malaysia, I don't think I ever would have made it to the executive committee. And honestly, I didn't deserve to be elected. I'm kind of embarrassed when I look back. Now, I'm not really, because I know I needed those lessons. I needed those experiences to mold me into who I am. But what I've come to believe, and I think this is important for all of us as leaders, is this realization that the vast majority of people you interact with on a daily basis are just doing the best job they can. Their parents tried to mess them up. Their religious leaders tried to mess them up. Their school teachers really tried to mess them up. And you've got all these conflicting messages and all these conflicting stories that are coming out from these different people of influence. And you just got to figure it out. And it's tough. It's hard. And if you can forgive other people for that, you need to forgive yourself for that. And that's what I had to do. I had to forgive myself for some of those missteps, and I had to become vulnerable with people. I think it's something, sometimes for some of us, it's the hardest thing as a leader to do. I remember talking to a district leader last year. Well, that's almost 2 years ago now, at the International Convention. And she said, I can't tell my team that I'm struggling because I like to be around people and I'm locked in my home with COVID, with these restrictions. I said, no, share it with them. Share it with your team. Be vulnerable with them. And she called me afterwards and she said she got 15 messages from members of her committee who said, oh my God, thank you for sharing that. I thought I was alone.
Those are
Now, I'm
powerful.
not saying be a weeping mess, okay? That's a different story. But I'm saying be vulnerable and let people know, some days life gets you. There's a concept that's come around called toxic positivity. I'm not sure I completely agree with the principles, but I kind of get where they're coming from. Every day is not the best day ever. Some days life gets you, and it's okay to share that and say, you know what? I'm struggling today, but I'll get through it. That's the important part. I'll get through it. I'll get through it with my faith. I'll get through it with my friends. I'll get through it with my family, with my coworkers. I'll get through it. I know that. And I think that's when people are willing to share that and make themselves reproducible as a leader. And that was what I really had to struggle on. Karen can tell you, because she was on my deck, man, nothing scratched me. I was Teflon. Nothing was sticking to me, and that's not the way to lead. That's not the way to lead effectively on the long term. There are times where that is necessary, but there are times where you just have to get down and just go, look, I'm struggling like you are. How can we help each other out? So that's kind of my journey, and it continues. It continues.
Those are excellent points. Thank you so much for sharing those with us. We have a number of questions, and I'll start with, what have you seen to be the most effective strategy in sustaining and growing Toastmasters clubs? And this comes from Zoom Master Jessica Flynn.
All right. Look, you need to know your environment. And starting a club in Memphis is pretty similar to starting a club in Jackson or Little Rock. But if you get into some small town, the strategies are different. They're different in major cities and small towns. They're different. So I don't want you to focus on the strategy. What I want you to focus on is, number one, is the intent. Okay, what is it you're trying to accomplish? What's the desired outcome? And I think the most important thing for a club is for them to know who they are, besides just being a Toastmasters club. So I'll give you an example. My wife and I started a club. It's coming up on 12 years now. We intentionally started a club at a time that no other club in the community was meeting. Tuesday afternoons, Tuesday at lunch. We said, why do we want to start this club? Who's going to attend a club Tuesdays at lunch? Business people. What do we do to make our club attractive to business people? Okay, we are religious when it comes to ending our meeting on time. In 12 years, we have ended the meeting more than 1 minute late, less than 5 times. Because people have to get back to work from lunch. So how do we do that? Well, some people don't like it, but we cut people off if they go overtime. And I remember a visitor from another Toastmasters club, well, that was rude. And one of our members said, well, it's rude to go overtime. So it just depends on how you look at it. And we're not judging how other clubs do things. This is what works for our club. I belong to another club where if someone comes in and says, hey, I got a business presentation, the introduction better be about 5 minutes long, explaining to everybody that they're not trying to sell you anything. Okay? In my club, you want to do a business presentation, go for it. Use the same introduction you use anytime. We understand that. No criticism of the other club. All right. You know, are you a formal club? I mean, there's a club in my district that the way I'm dressed right now, I would not be allowed to speak because I am not in a suit and tie. That's the culture in that club. Nothing wrong with that. There are other clubs where they cut my jacket off of me, okay, and say, relax, you know, you're not speaking to Wall Street. Key West in particular, Karen knows that area. Key West, if you wear a tie, man, two things happen if you go into Key West in a tie. One, they're going to assume you're at a wedding. No, not even a wedding, a funeral or police court or a court. Or two, they're going to assume you're the new salesperson in town, and the phones start ringing around town going, hey, there's a new sales guy in town. How much grief can we give him? Okay, and they will. The other thing that might happen to you is you walk into some place and they cut your tie off. All right, because that's just not, and you know, you're going to the Toastmasters meeting in shorts and flip-flops, because that's just the culture there. Nothing wrong with that. So you need to know who you are and take that time to define that. Jackie's a marketing person. Karen does a lot of marketing. I know some of the rest of you probably do as well. You know, define who's your target market. All right, and do things that make that comfortable. A club set up for students is different than a club set up for retirees. It's different from a club set up for business people. It's different than a club set up for a religious institution. So know who you are, and that's the most important thing. What are you trying to accomplish with this club? What's the reason for starting this club other than just, we want a club here? District 94 and 114, which are East and West Africa, well, West and East, let me get the numbers straight. If you go and ask their district leaders, what are you doing? They don't say we're building Toastmasters Club. They don't say we're building better speakers and leaders. You know what they'll tell you they're doing? They're building tomorrow's leaders for Africa. They know who they are. They know what they're trying to accomplish. Now, that's not necessarily needs to be your mission. You know, maybe you're just trying to help out your corporation and make more effective presenters at your corporation because you've seen some bad presentations. Nothing wrong with that. Just know who you are. And I think when you know who you are and you set up your club to succeed, to meet the needs of that group of individuals, you're far more likely to do that. A couple other things is, you know, I don't like to call them demo meetings. I like to call them launch meetings. And if you look for Rick Furbush on YouTube and watch some of his videos about how he runs a launch meeting for a Toastmasters club, boy, that guy could start a club. Oh my goodness, he started 3 clubs with 100 members between them in one day at one company. All right. And the most important thing, I think, when people go into a potential club, they're asking themselves 2 questions. Now, I know there's a lot more questions, but essentially, in my experience, it boils down to 2 questions. Number 1, can this organization help me with my perceived need? All right. You know, if I want to lose weight, where do I go? I go to Weight Watchers. I go to another organization that's designed to help lose weight. I don't go to Toastmasters to lose weight. That's not what we're here for. So I have a perceived need. Does this organization have the tools to help me with that perceived need? And the second thing they're asking themselves is do I feel like I fit in with this group of people? And if the answer to yes is to both of those questions is yes, the money doesn't matter as much. The time of the day doesn't matter as much. The location doesn't matter as much. You know, they're like, I fit in this group and they can help me. I'm going to join. I'll find a way to make it work. So the most important thing to starting a new club is to make sure that those guests feel welcome. And when you're doing a launch meeting, the way to do that, and this is a Rick. I'm not taking any credit for this. Rick would do this, and he would walk in, and he would give everyone a 3x5 card and say, write something unique about yourself. Karen, did you ever see him do this? Okay. Write something about yourself. And then he would go up there and go, okay, hey, we got somebody here who's run 14 marathons. That's a lot of marathons. Who do you guys think's run 14 marathons? And then everybody would guess, and then he'd say, hey, Kamlesh, tell us about the 14 marathons you ran. And all of a sudden, what's Kamlesh doing? He's participating in table topics. And he sees himself as potentially part of the club. And then what do we do when he gets done? We give him applause. He may not have had any applause all day, and he's getting applause. And he's like, I like this. Tell me more. I think this can help. And I think that's, we tend to make it too complicated, and it's really simple. You want your clubs to sustain members. You want to grow clubs. Make sure you've got okay, forgive me, Mary, forgive me. Make sure you got kick-ass meetings, okay? Make sure your meetings meet the needs of your members, and you won't have challenges with membership. You won't have challenges getting visitors to become members. It's just really that simple. Focus on your club quality. And then when they do show up, they're like, I want to be a part of that. Thanks, Mary.
Excellent points. There are so many. I hope that you all are jotting those down in the chat so we will not lose those. Can you tell us what your best elevator pitch is for Toastmasters and why someone should join or visit your Toastmasters?
Let's see, who am I going to pick on? Hugh. Hugh Thompson. Can you unmute yourself?
He's unmuted.
All right, Hugh. So, hey, Hugh, I know we just met. Can you tell me one of your goals?
Yeah,
Something you're working on?
Yeah, making every day a Friday.
Making every day a Friday. What do you mean by that?
I'm trying to live the dream, man.
Would it bother you if I talked to you about an organization that might help you make it through that and get that to reality?
It sounds like a good deal for me.
Okay. Now, what did I just do?
You've given me an opportunity to live the dream that I want to live.
And the other thing I did.
Got a yes out of it.
I got a no out of it.
Did you?
Would it bother you?
Oh, okay.
No. Why? Because people want to say no. Their first reaction is to say no. I got a no out of him, and his no just gave me permission to talk to him about Toastmasters. But I also focused on him first. What are your goals? So my elevator pitch always starts with, well, what's one of your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Because almost any goal, probably any goal, I can find a way that Toastmasters can help you with that goal. Even playing professional sports. All right, because if you've watched some of those interviews after that last round of the NFL playoffs, yeah, Toastmasters can help some of them really well, okay? So there's a lot of things, helping you find a job, helping you get the courage up to start your own business. I mean, there's so many goals that Toastmasters can help with, that everyone's journey is individual. Your leadership journey is as unique as you are. So focus first on what the person you're talking to wants, because then you've got them. You've got them. You've got the opportunity to at least plant a seed. Now, I'll tell you, it took 4 attempts for me to go to my first Toastmasters meeting. Because the first pitch, you're like, oh, you want to get better at speaking? I'm like, not really. They're like, no. I said, like I did high school speech and debate. I was a minister for 2 years. I'm comfortable getting up and speaking. No big deal. All right. Well, that didn't work. You know what finally got me in? I'll be honest with you, completely honest. And Denise, this is something that works great at corporate clubs. Free food got me in. They're like, oh, come check out the meeting. I don't know if it's for you or not, but we're serving lunch. Sure, I'm in. And then the speaker didn't impress me. Table topics was pretty cool. But what sold me was evaluation, because I knew 2 things about myself. One is I was not good at receiving evaluation. Let me be clear. I was not good at receiving positive evaluation. I was very good at receiving negative evaluation. Okay, but positive evaluation, I tended to be very dismissive of it. to the point where it was offensive to some people, how dismissive I was of it. It was false humility. The second thing I knew is I was equally as bad at giving positive feedback, much to the chagrin of my teams. I was really good at finding every single flaw, but I struggled to lift people up. I didn't really see that as my role. I didn't understand something that Dr. Smedley came up with almost 100 years ago, actually technically more than 100 years ago, that psychologists are confirming today, is that positive reinforcement is far more effective to develop people than negative reinforcement. And I saw both of those, and I knew that I needed to work on both of those. And that's why I joined Toastmasters. So if anyone had been speaking to me about developing my leadership, developing my speaking, it didn't speak to me. You know, if they'd ask, hey, we work on evaluations, I hear you might want to do, oh yeah, I need to work on evaluations. That's great. You've got to focus in on what the needs of that individual are.
Those are some excellent points. We have just a few more minutes, and I want to make sure that I ask Toastmaster Mary's question, and that is, who was the individual, the YouTube guy that you talked about? We want to make sure his name is in the chat.
Rick Furbush, F-U-R-B-U-S-H. And he's a past district director, governor at the time in District 47, which at the time was the southern half of Florida. He is also a past region advisor, and the videos are still up there. I had the honor of serving as his lieutenant governor of marketing when he was district governor. Those are the old titles. So club growth director, district director. And I learned a lot from Rick. And Rick was one of those guys where all of a sudden you're like, everyone's running behind Rick, and you're like, where are we going? I don't know, but we're going with Rick. Okay. Because he was just so super enthusiastic, so energetic that you just wanted to be around him and be part of whatever he was doing, even if you didn't know what it was doing. And even if honestly he didn't know what it was he was doing. You know, he just brought all the people together, but he was great there. Toastmasters Kickoff Made Simple. It's 2 parts. Thank you. Oh, Charlotte's on. All right. But Rick does a great job with how to run a kickoff. He called them kickoff meetings, launch meetings. I don't like demo, because demo means I'm watching you. Launch and kickoff, you're starting to think maybe this is going to be a reality. And it's just a very, very subtle psychological thing. Jennifer, wow, I got people from all over. I see Jennifer Gabicho there from District 35. All right.
Those are excellent points. And we had a lot of our Toast members say sparkly meetings. That is from our amazing Toastmasters leadership meeting with Toastmaster Roger, talked about sparkling meetings. You talked a lot about evaluations. We prioritized evaluations as well. Mm-hmm. Our next question is from someone who says, we've had a number of people who have exited stage left since the pandemic because they don't like online meetings. Mm-hmm. Do you have any strategies for recommending how to bring former members back? Are there any initiatives targeted at bringing former members back? And this comes from David Bernstein.
Yeah. So David, that's a great question. And what it boils down to is people reaching out to people. And if their real reason, now this you may not know, but if their real reason for leaving was because of online meetings, then help them find a meeting that's meeting in person again, whether it's your meeting or another one, if that's truly their reason. Okay, and there are some people that's truly their reason. There are also a number of people who use it as a convenient excuse. All right, so you got to find out. I remember someone calling me and saying, oh, well, you know, these people, a few years ago, oh, these people left because of pathways. Well, I knew the individual. I called and I asked, so, okay, tell me why. Why did you really leave? So I'm expecting your pathways. He goes, oh, my club president was a jerk. Okay. But he didn't want to tell everyone in the club that he left because the club president was a jerk. You know, he was like, well, I'm leaving because of path. It was a convenient excuse. So don't assume that somebody leaving and saying it's because they don't like online is the real reason. Dig into it. Do we have any HR people in the house? Okay, what's the #1 rule on exit interviews, Mary?
We want to know the reason why you are leaving.
Okay, and what do people do to you? every day. They lie.
Yeah. But we don't want to say that.
No,
We try to
but
give them a chance.
I
to
know,
tell
but
us.
the reality is people lie on exit interviews if they think there's any chance somebody will know that they're the one who said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we try to convince them that, we'll keep this between us, that
Yeah.
it doesn't go any further.
And,
It's just
and
for us to
sometimes it
grow.
works and sometimes it doesn't, But in Toastmasters, what they told you the club may be true, it may not be true. So I'm just saying, take it with a little grain of salt and ask yourself, is there something we could have done?
Yes.
The other thing is let people know you miss them. Oh my goodness. I cannot tell you how many people have left Toastmasters just because they missed 2 meetings and no one picked up the phone and said, Lachey, are you okay? Because you're like, well, I wasn't there 2 weeks ago. Did they even miss me? No one called. No one reached out to me. And okay, I don't feel like going next week. No, I don't feel like, and all of a sudden a month has gone by, 2 months have gone by, and you're not going back. So if somebody's missing meetings, pick up the phone and say, don't chastise them for not being in the meeting. But unless you know what's going on, then just say, David Bernstein, are you doing okay? We miss you. Oh, I get the message. They miss me. Wow, I want to go back. Don't you want to go back to somewhere people miss you? To feel that warmth?
Yes.
I do.
Thank you so much,
I
President-elect, for
know
those.
we're out of time. I just want to applaud this event. Jackie, Arlelian, Lujine, thank you so much for putting on these types of events, because this is a small way that you can help all clubs achieve excellence. So thank you guys for spending your time this evening with us. I'm delighted to spend some time with you. I did also, our international president, Margaret Page, said, for those who remember her visiting, hello. If you miss her, she misses you as well. And she said that mouthwash was still terrible and that you would understand what that meant. Okay. Okay, I see some of you nodding your head. She didn't explain that full story to me. She just had to bring it up. So thank you guys so much. And I'm going to turn it back over to Jackie.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, IPE Matt Kinsey. District 43, unmute, and if you have your backgrounds, Matt, this is our monthly M&M monthly meetup. So we come bearing all things M&M. For members matter, and we have fun in this space. But we so thank you for sharing this time with us this month. And next month is going to be a great session because I received a wonderful, wonderful suggestion from our international president. We are going to do a vision session next month. So get ready for the last Tuesday of February and come ready for a fabulous vision session. Okay, with that, it is exactly 8:30. We are adjourned, but I am going to ask if you would like to stick around. Lou, I'm going to turn it over to Lou because Lou has some information about our district conference coming up in April. So I will pass it over to you, Lou.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you again, Matt, for bringing us such inspiring speech and shared so much with our members. And here we have this year's 2 conference co-chairs in the call. I hope they can, Jackie, if you can help spotlight them. That is Distinguished Toastmaster David Bernstein and our Toastmaster Alex Hawkins.
Okay, where's David?
And also, I'd like to share a video our spring conference team put together to introduce to you what the conference will bring to you. Okay. Oh.
Fellow Toastmasters, do you have goals and dreams? Well, whatever they are, you should know that Northwest Arkansas has long been a place where dreams are born and possibilities are created. It was 1931, the depths of the Great Depression, when John Tyson moved his family to Springdale, Arkansas. He had the opportunity to purchase a shipment of chickens. And from that humble beginning, he and his family built a $42 billion corporation. I'll bet that you, or someone you know ate a Tyson product today. That's because the company now supplies 1 out of every 5 pounds of chicken, beef, and pork sold in the United States.
In 1942, at the age of 24, a young man, like many young men in that year, joined the military. He and the love of his life married the next year. When his military service ended, Sam and Helen moved to Iowa and then to Newport, Arkansas. During this time, Sam gained early retail experience, eventually operating his own variety store. He had a dream and saw the possibilities come alive, starting in Northwest Arkansas. Today, Walmart is the largest retailer in the world and is #1 on the Fortune 500 list.
These are just 2 of the hundreds of companies and individuals who found Northwest Arkansas an ideal place to inspire and nurture their dreams. As Toastmasters, we know all about dreams. Each week, we help each other improve our speaking and leadership skills.
Let's remember the mission of all Toastmasters clubs. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. But this past year has been quite a challenge for all of us. In the beginning, it felt like our Toastmasters world collapsed, but for District 43, it was just another opportunity to dream of ways to continue meeting. So you can see, Northwest Arkansas really is a land of possibilities. When we can visit clubs from around the world, England to Sri Lanka, Argentina to China, there is nothing we can't do.
Now it's time to blaze your own path. Is your goal to be a leader? Looking for your next promotion or even a career change? Then going to a Toastmasters district conference is a great launching pad. If you want to become a better collaborator, leader, motivator, mentor, or innovator, the 2022 District 43 Annual Conference should be your next destination. Fortunately, you don't have to go anywhere. For the second year in a row, we're going to bring the district conference right to you. From the comfort of your home, you'll be able to log in and hear amazing speakers, educators, and competitors, including a recent winner of the World Championship of Public Speaking. The next move is yours. We're going to give you a link right now to register for the conference. This is your opportunity to invest in yourself, discover your strengths, and discover your possibilities.
Thank you so much for sharing that video, Lou. My name is Alex Hawkins, and with my co-chair, David Bernstein, we are so excited to promote this event. I'm a lifelong resident of Northwest Arkansas, and we're really excited to be able to bring a little bit of Northwest Arkansas to each of you in the virtual way. We all got good at it last year, so let's use those skills that we built over the last couple of years and make this year even better. We're really excited to explore your world of possibilities with this event. David, anything to add?
What she said, that's right, exactly. I couldn't agree more.
Thank
That was
you,
all I had
David.
to add. I can't top what you've said, which is so great.
It's
No.
just better to agree with me. I mean, David and I have been working on this conference for a while at this point, and a lot of learnings, a lot of collaboration, and it's just better to agree with one another. So, thank you, David.
I taught him that a long time ago, Alex.
That's right. That's right. Well, we'll make sure and share the registration link with you guys, but we're so excited to raffle off some free registrations this evening. Lou, do you have more details on that?
Sure, we are actually doing, we'll do a raffle for all of our early registration people. And we have in total 57 members and leaders already registered by the end of last year. So tonight we have a small gift for each of you. I have it here. That is a very nice Toastmasters logo of like laptop backpack. Okay. The way we will do it is I'm going to generate a random number. You don't need to be here. We thank you for register early to give, your contribute to our conference team to plan this exciting environment event. And if you are ready, 15, number 15. Let's see. Number 15 will be Toastmaster. Wow, someone does. Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster does. Congratulations. With that, we encourage everyone to go to our conference website and register for the conference. And we really are waiting here for you to participate in this event. And I will give the control back to our wonderful lady, Club Growth Director, Jackie Hauser.
Thank you so much, Lou. Thank you so much, David. And thank you so much, Alex, for the hard work that you all are doing and what you're doing, the efforts you are putting into the conference. So if you have not registered, head over to Event Create and register for the district conference. It's one you don't want to miss. Keynote speaker is Verdi Price, our recent world champion of public speaking. With that, I'd like to thank you all for your time this evening. Thank you for being here. Again, thank you, Matt, for your words. And District 43, I want you to take the nuggets that Matt has dropped tonight. And I also want you to bask right now in the excitement of being number one in the Western Hemisphere. That is exciting. What are we going to do to stay there? Let's keep the momentum going. Let's stay there. We're halfway there. We don't give up. We can't give up now. It's too late to give up now. With that, have a wonderful evening and rest of your week, and we'll see you back here next month, last Tuesday of February. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Matt, you were amazing.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you.
Yes, that was.
And you're a wonderful storyteller.
Pardon?
You're a wonderful storyteller.
Oh, thank you.
But Matt, I did not know that you remember that conversation at the bar.
Oh, absolutely. I've told that story a few times on my show.
I did not know.
Oh yeah, I remember. I told a couple people. I don't know if they ever did. I said, if you see Mary, tell her white boy said hello.
So you